First, I'll look at the timeline of the incident, then offer my analysis. This case takes place in Fort Walton Beach, Florida, which is about an hour east of Pensacola, on November 12, 2023, at about 8:42 a.m. The police were notified about a vehicle causing a disturbance on McLaren Circle in Fort Walton Beach. A black male driver in his late 20s had been honking the horn and disrupting the peace since 3 a.m. At 8:55 a.m., a woman named Celestiana Lopez called the police and reported that her boyfriend, Marquis Jackson, had possession of her vehicle
Can you pause for a
and
second?
was refusing
Oh,
to return
oh,
it.
we're not even there.
Because Celestiana was at a friend's house
I
on
heard you.
McLaren
Hold on.
Circle, the two
Go ahead.
I don't know. I don't know if it's just me, but I just find it interesting that, like, when this guy's talking about, I guess, the police officer's day, he points out that a man was honking his car earlier that morning, but he points out that it's a black man. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I'm just like, why is that like such have to be such a detail? Let me just say somebody was just blowing their horn, but now it's like, oh, it's a black man blowing their horn. Like, what's the?
Right.
I don't know. Like I said, maybe it's just me, but I just find some sort of like,
I think what he was trying to show was this whole thing originated from two calls, not once. That's why there was so many officers on the scene
mhm.
because both the calls was next door. It was a coincidence. So he's just painting the picture.
But why still? I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, okay, so this is something going on in this area, this neighborhood, but why still specify, especially like
Because
now, because this is
people
after the fact.
people will look at the video and say, why so many officers was there for one dude? Well, it just so happened that those many officers were there. They was on two different calls. Just look, watch the video.
calls were linked together. Officers from the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office started arriving at the scene at 8:57 a.m. 4 officers arrived in total: Jesse Hernandez, Beth Roberts, Javier Reyna, and Deha Riley. Jesse Hernandez had only been a police officer since January 2022, but Beth Roberts had been an officer for over 15 years and was a sergeant. Beth spoke to Celestiana, who said that her boyfriend Marquis not only refused to return her vehicle, but he had sent threatening text messages to her. One message contained what appeared to be a firearm suppressor pointed at the vehicle's dashboard. It is reasonable to believe the suppressor was connected to a firearm. She wanted to press charges for theft and mentioned that Marquis could be violent. At around 9:09 a.m., Marquis Jackson arrived at the scene on foot. 2 officers, Jesse and Javier, made contact with him and patted him down. They were about 50 feet away from where Beth was talking to Celestiana. Marquis was arrested at 9:12 a.m. The officers handcuffed him and walked him to the patrol vehicle operated by Jesse Hernandez. It was a Dodge Durango. Javier completed a more thorough search of Marquis while Jesse was standing there. As Beth worked with Celestiana on an affidavit of complaint for the alleged vehicle theft, she asked her if Marquis had any aftermarket items on his firearm. Celestiana confirmed that he had a suppressor, but did not know where his firearm was. She also indicated that he had multiple weapons. Jesse witnessed this part of the conversation. Therefore, he knew about the concern that Marquis could have been armed. Javier and Deha left to search for the missing vehicle. Only Jesse and Beth remained at the scene. Beth told Jesse to transport Marquis as she finished with Celestiana. Before Jesse could leave, the other officers found the vehicle 2.6 miles away. Jesse decided to pull Marquis out of his vehicle and conduct a full search of him. He started walking toward his vehicle while putting medical-style gloves on. At this point, an acorn struck the top of Jesse's police vehicle. An acorn is the nut of an oak tree. It contains a seed and is the method through which oak trees reproduce. Acorns are usually about 1 to 2 inches long and about an inch wide. They weigh about 5 grams. They are an important food source for animals like deer, squirrels, birds, and insects.
To be fair, it looks a lot like a bullet.
Historically, acorns have been recognized as being nonviolent and typically do not carry weapons. Not surprisingly, they have a very low rate of negative interactions with law enforcement. Unfortunately, that would not be the case for this particular acorn. After this vicious and unwarranted acorn attack, Jesse raised his right hand, fell to the ground, and yelled, "Shots fired," twice. He rolled onto his right side and yelled, "Shots fired," for the third time. Beth responded to the noise that Jesse was making and walked toward his vehicle. She asked, "What? What?" Jesse retrieved his Sig Sauer P320 in his right hand and said, "Shots fired," for the fourth time. Beth said, "Where? Right there?" She was pointing at Jesse's patrol vehicle. Jesse responded, "In the car." He started firing at his own police cruiser. Jesse tried to stand up, fell backward, and was lying on his left side. Beth started firing her Sig Sauer P320 as well. She stopped firing about 3.5 seconds later and yelled, "Jesse, Jesse, are you okay?" Jesse resumed firing at his vehicle and yelled, "I'm hit, I'm hit." He ran out of ammunition and the slide of his weapon locked back. Jesse pushed up to his hands and knees and made a groaning noise. Beth asked, "Where is he? Where is he?" Jesse responded, "In the car." At this point, Jesse was crawling behind a vehicle to gain concealment and limited cover. In a dramatic fashion, he said the words, "He shot." Then there was a pause, and Jesse said, "Through the car." Beth used her radio to call for help by saying, "Shots fired, shots fired. I've got a deputy down." When officers arrived, they pointed their weapons at Marquis Jackson, who was still unarmed and handcuffed in the back of Jesse's police cruiser. They found him to be uninjured. Jesse Hernandez was taken to the hospital, where medical professionals determined he had not been shot. Presumably, the acorn was also uninjured. It was a tough nut to crack and escaped from the scene. The homicidal acorn is squirreling away its anger, lurking and waiting for its next chance to bring terror upon the citizens of Fort Walton Beach. Who knows when it may strike again? Jesse was interviewed to get his side of the story. Here's what he told investigators. As Jesse was near his police cruiser, which contained Marquis Jackson, he heard what he believed to be a suppressed weapon off to the side. Simultaneously, he felt an impact on the right side of his torso near his shoulder. His legs gave out. He thought a shot had come from inside of his own police vehicle. He returned fire at the vehicle, believing that Marquis had shot him. Beth was also interviewed by the police. She was asked if she could identify where the threat was coming from during the incident. Beth indicated that she thought it was from Jesse's patrol vehicle. She was worried about Jesse because he was in the open, so she fired at the vehicle so Jesse could reach an area that was relatively safe. Jesse Hernandez resigned on December 4, 2023. Investigators determined that his behavior was not objectively reasonable, but no criminal charges were filed against him. The behavior of Beth Roberts was determined to be objectively reasonable, and she was exonerated. She was not disciplined as a result of firing her weapon during the incident. Marquis Jackson posted on Facebook and talked about his horrible experience. He mentioned how bullets were flying near him and glass was shattering around him. He was fortunate not to get hit, but indicated that he was not okay mentally. He said that he believed he was damaged for life. Now moving to my analysis. Many people were concerned that no criminal charges were filed in this case. The authorities disagree with the idea of charges, arguing that there was no reason to believe Jesse acted with malice, as if this is the only way criminal charges would be warranted. This brings me to the question, should Jesse Hernandez have been criminally charged in this case? Let's take a look at the evidence both for and against the idea that charges were warranted, starting with the inculpatory factors. The man who Jesse arrested, Marquis Jackson, did not have a gun on his person.
What do you guys think? Should he have been charged before we hear them?
I'm gonna say no.
I think so.
I think if the dude got hit with a bullet, then he should have been criminally charged, even if it didn't kill him. But if he got hit by one of the bullets, then yeah, he should have been criminally charged. But considering he was uninjured, I think the best thing for him was him to be removed from duty. Like he obviously doesn't have what it takes. He like it's not PTSD if he never saw combat. Cobra had mentioned earlier. So I just think he's just unfit to be a police officer. I don't think it was out of malice. It doesn't appear to be out of malice, but like him and everybody else said, like he probably had the mindset going on, like, oh, this guy might have a silenced weapon on him. So
Listen, to be honest with you, I know dude response, and his response is my response. But before he even responded, when I first seen this video, my response was the exact same. He should be charged for the simple fact that anybody else would be. If me and you dumped the whole fucking clip in public because we thought we seen something and it wasn't the case, we would be charged. Cops are not above the law. And ignorance of the law is no
But
excuse.
see, I'm actually with Sadie that he shouldn't be charged, mainly because he was acting in the line. Like, if a police officer isn't working as a police officer, that's one thing. But he was working as a police officer in the line of duty. He thought he was shot. So shooting back would be the quote unquote reasonable thing to do, to try to stop him from harming you or somebody else.
Yeah, but that don't out being a police officer don't out Trump being a citizen. Nobody is above the law.
Right.
If a citizen had done that,
Oh yeah, for sure.
they
But
would
I'm
have
just
been
saying, like,
charged. So what gives him carte blanche in this situation? Because he's a police officer? That's not how the law works. That's not how the law works.
police officers have special rules when it comes to certain things, though.
You don't
Like,
get
I can't
if a,
arrest somebody or take away their freedom. They can.
right.
and then also if a
when
citizen felt like he was threatened,
hold
so
on. We skating over a lot of shit. You have the right to do that when a crime has been committed. A crime is not committed in this situation.
that no, he's being arrested for stealing the car. So
He's being
that is a
detained. He
crime.
wasn't under arrest. He was detained.
He's being detained, but you have reasonable suspicion that he is armed. They said he was going to check him for the firearm again because the first one was just like a general pat down.
Right.
So you think that he could have a weapon on him?
Mm-hmm. But
And if you're the whole thing with return and fire, if you a citizen, if you felt like your life was threatened, and in this case he thought he got shot. If you feel like you got shot, I mean, granted, it's a lot of scrutiny coming with that. But if at the moment, if you feel like your life is threatened, you can return fire.
right. If it actually happened.
He thought he was shot.
That's not.
I'll see what Cobra's saying. What Cobra's saying is, like, if you're a schizophrenic and you're walking down the street, if you think somebody shoots at you, you can't just start shooting at people.
Yeah, and
because
then
you
say, well, he thought
happen.
he was being shot.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I see what you're
that's
saying.
not how the law works, bro. It's not.
Right, but that's different. This is a trained police officer who supposedly had,
What does that mean?
served. You said he had served, right?
Yeah,
So you wouldn't normally say he has schizophrenia. If you're talking about a random dude that just has schizophrenia, first of all, he shouldn't be able to get a gun.
That was just an example.
But here's the thing, Sabius. What you're describing is actually what we're dealing with. We're dealing with somebody who has PTSD, who has a gun.
He doesn't have PTSD.
No,
He actually has to have.
They said he had been involved in any combat. That don't mean he didn't see any. He was in fucking Iraq. So I mean, regardless if he didn't or didn't, if he seen combat, witnessed it, or was there firsthand, you have no right to dump a clip on a civilian who's sitting in the back of your car handcuffed because you
Completely
thought-
helpless.
Yeah, because you thought I couldn't get away with that. You couldn't get away with that. And he shouldn't be able to get away with that. It sends the wrong message. Just look, just listen.
He was searched twice before being handcuffed and placed in Jesse's police vehicle. Jesse knew, or should have known, Marquis did not have a gun. By his own admission, there were only 3 pieces of information that Jesse used to justify firing his weapon at Marquis Jackson: the sound of the acorn hitting his vehicle, which he thought was a suppressed firearm; the belief that he had something strike his upper right torso, which never happened; and the sensation that his legs were not working normally. He did not see a weapon. Jesse did not see a muzzle flash.
Bro, that's a hell of a thing to go off of when your life is in danger. Could you imagine somebody shooting up a car while you hog-tied in the motherfucker?
and saying, I thought you shot me.
No, not just that. Somebody else trying to sell to you. Well, listen, Vino thought he heard something and he felt like his legs was out. So he shot at you, bro. Like, you gotta understand that.
He just shot a little bit, just one clip.
What's the problem? What you would have did if your legs would have went out and you thought you heard somebody shooting? Like, motherfucker, I wouldn't have did that.
Imagine how scared he was that his legs stopped working on.
That's why I say I would hate to be
his legs shut off.
Bro, I would hate to be in his house while his refrigerator's making ice.
Dang.
That's even louder.
He got ice trays. He don't
What I'm
have
saying-
ice maker. He can't.
As all that, they should have found all that beforehand. Like, if he was that traumatic, then he shouldn't have been a police officer in the first place. But what I'm saying is, like,
I didn't. So now you forcing my hand. I swear I was trying to get through this without saying what I really feel, what I'm holding back from saying, and what I'm holding back from saying, and I've been doing that since the very beginning of this video. Not this video, the whole fucking segment. That fucking guy had one of those infamous dangerous animals that he's been hearing about right in front of him. A young black boy, a young black man, whatever you want to call them. I hear so much about them. They dangerous. They kill each other. I see the videos. I hear from my, co-workers, and here go one, and they telling me he got a gun with a silence on. He's so scared of that black man. He thought that he had a fucking gun with a silencer on it up his ass or something, like he was Houdini. And he's so much of a methodical criminal, like he been hearing about with these black guys, that he got that gun in the car and fucking put them handcuffs over his head, and now he's shooting at me. That's what I really feel. I feel like he was afraid of that dude. Seriously. Not trying to play the race card. I'm just judging the situation for what it is. I feel like he was afraid of it. If you look at the way they encountered each other, like when Carradis first said, well, that guy was brave for walking up. Okay, well, Hernandez said a few words to him and then turned around and tried to posture like he wasn't scared of him and shit. You know what I'm saying? I really feel like he was terrified of that boy. And any little fucking sound, he thought he was making a move. For real.
I don't disagree with any of that. That's why I'm like, what I didn't like with this dude in the video saying that, oh well, let me set up the scene from throughout the day. We had a phone call from a guy who was a black man who was honking his horn. To me, that actually exemplifies what you're saying. So now he gotta, if what you're saying is correct, which I'm not disagreeing with, just saying, if he got a fear of a black man, he already heard a black man was already causing trauma or honking his horn earlier this morning, like, why do you need to specify that? And I'm not saying him as the content creator.
I was about to say,
I'm saying the police officers are saying, because I'm sure they reported it the same way. We got a black man honking his horn in the middle of the street. Because otherwise, why would he even know it's a black man unless somebody else reported it that way? So I think it's probably a combination.
Look at it from I'm the kind of person, whether I agree or disagree with you, I can look at it from both sides. Look how the guy who stole old girl car was acting when old boy was handcuffing him. You sure you want to do it? Well, you want to? We're gonna see how far I go. He's being cocky and shit, and I'm already kind of nervous, and you talking like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you got the upper hand. What do you know that I don't know? You know what I'm saying? It just is what it is. I mean, I'm not excusing it. I'm just painting the picture. He should be way more calm as a police officer. You supposed to. I feel like when you are law enforcement or a prosecutor or a judge, you are supposed to be godlike. I don't give a fuck. I'm always gonna have like an extreme point of view about anybody working the system. If you
Yeah, I
got the
wouldn't go
right,
as far as godlike, but
yes, you are godlike. You better be. You better be godlike. I don't want to hear that I'm human shit from you. You got the power to take somebody's life and freedom away. You better be fucking godlike. You better have nerves of steel. You better be able to tell when somebody really lying. I don't accept any bullshit from none of them. If you lock somebody up for 20 days, 20 years, I don't want to hear, oh, I didn't know. He fucking no. You wanted to get your ass up there and had the power of a God to be able to take life and give people death sentences and life without parole. And nah, bro, you gotta be a God. You want to be
see,
a God?
I think that's the wrong message. I think that's
How
the
is that the
problem
wrong message?
because
That's what they doing.
I think when people that's because that they feel like they're gods. That's why they do the stuff. Oh, I'm gonna send this dude to prison for life in
Oh,
jail.
you
They give you
misunderstanding what
giving
I'm
them the
saying.
complex that they're God. That's what
I'm
I'm
not
saying.
giving them
Uh,
shit because what I'm saying is you're not good at it. I'm not giving them shit. I don't think they gods. I like showing them. That's why I
No, I'm
always
saying you're giving them a God complex. They feel like they're in power, so they can rule
they
out these
do.
sentences and stuff because they have a God
And you better
complex.
be
And I'm
perfect. And
saying,
you're
no,
not.
you're
You're
not.
not.
That's why you need to, in
So
my
so with
opinion,
him thinking he heard an acorn is not giving God complex. That's like a crackhead on 67th Street kind of instinct. You've been in the service. You're a police officer. You swore to an oath. I'm pretty sure you've arrested people. Whether they did it or not, you changed their life. You sanctioned where they going. You going to prison. I'm freezing your ass. That's what in the prison system. They say that's what justice stand for. You can get two words out of justice: just ice. You're freezing people. You got to be smarter than that, bro. I expect that from a civilian, not from a police officer. You supposed to be a professional. You can't tell the difference between a fucking bullet and an acorn. That dude responded like he was in the beginning of Saving Private Ryan. That's not very godlike. That's all I'm saying.
There was no gunshot. He was not struck by anything, and he was not injured. Jesse Hernandez launched into a massive, dramatic, and dangerous routine based on hearing a sound not unlike what many people experience every day. Even if one were to give Jesse a pass and assume that Marquis could have been armed, how would a bullet have exited the police cruiser without breaking a window or puncturing the sheet metal body panels? Jesse decided to fire his weapon at his vehicle, even though none of the windows were broken and there were no holes in the metal. Furthermore, Jesse repeatedly made false claims like shots fired and I'm hit, and indicated to Beth Roberts that the shots were coming from his vehicle. This caused Beth to fire her weapon. No one was injured, but firing a weapon counts as using deadly force. Jesse jeopardized the life of Marquis Jackson for absolutely no reason. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Jesse had a few reasons to be concerned about Marquis Jackson. According to the police, Marquis had a history of threatening his girlfriend. She was ending their 3-year relationship. He had recently sent threatening messages to her, including a photograph of a firearm suppressor. His girlfriend said that he had a history of becoming very violent over disagreements with her. Marquis owned firearms and was known to carry a firearm or have one in his vehicle. His vehicle was at the scene. Marquis did not physically resist, but he was described as verbally non-cooperative. Even though an acorn falling onto a vehicle does not sound like a gunshot, Jesse was aware of the image of the suppressor. When a firearm with a suppressor discharges, it makes a different type of sound. Instead of a crack or a bang sound, it's more like a softer thud sound. Jesse may have been on alert and listening for that particular sound, like he had worked himself up to be overly sensitive to that sound. Jesse had served as an officer in the Army Special Forces for 10 years and completed 2 rotations in Afghanistan, but he never experienced direct combat. When considering all the evidence, do I think that Jesse Hernandez should have been criminally charged? Yes, he should have been charged. If an average citizen walking down the street heard an acorn hitting a vehicle and fired their gun at a person, they would be charged. Jesse cannot use being a police officer as an excuse. He was never in danger. No one was shooting at him. He created an unnecessary danger and misled another officer into creating an unnecessary danger. I don't think he acted with malice, but his recklessness was unacceptable. What do I think happened in this case? This is just a theory, my opinion. Jesse Hernandez was grossly incompetent and way too sensitive to threats to be a police officer. For some reason, the image of the suppressor really affected him. When he heard the sound of an acorn hitting his police vehicle, it started a chain of events. He falsely believed this was a gunshot and that Marquis was the shooter. In a moment of panic, he felt a sensation on his torso. Believing that he was shot, his panic intensified and his legs failed. He did not have enough evidence to believe there was a danger, but he was responding to his emotions. He valued his emotions above all else and trusted them completely. He was able to provoke Beth into firing her weapon because she was trained to consider the word of another officer as credible. The root of this problem was probably a panic attack, but officers are expected not to fire at unarmed people even when panicking. A panic attack is not a license to kill. Now moving to my final thoughts. Even though Jesse appeared to be dangerously incompetent, there is an alternate way to think about this case. In a nutshell, without officers like Jesse, who's going to stand up to these homicidal acorns? Today, it's one acorn attacking an officer. Tomorrow, they join forces with pistachios and pecans to sow the seeds of destruction. Just when people thought it couldn't get any worse, the almonds get involved. Has anybody thought this through? We need more
Come on.
officers who will stand up to these nuts, to adopt the role of the nutcracker. There is a kernel of truth in this story. It may not be a good idea to let this problem spiral out of control. After all, from little acorns, mighty oaks grow. Those are my thoughts on the case of Jesse Hernandez. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section.
Oh
Keep
shit!
them corny jokes to yourself.
Oh, those are great.
I was gonna say I thought they were pretty good.
It was all right the first one, but then he just kept going.
I think you hating, bro. You want to do a mag dump on him?
Nah, I will say, I still don't think he should personally be charged criminally. However, I will rescind a little bit because considering the fact that he did serve in the army and everything, so he should have been trained. And like what the guy said earlier, it's more recklessness. So, and then he even put the other officer for recklessness. So I do think you can be charged criminally for being reckless. So in that case, yeah, you can charge him for being reckless.
Right. I mean, only reason I think he should be charged is because no civilian would get away with that. That's it. What's good for the geese is good for the
That's
gander.
fair.
I couldn't get away with that shit. I could explain what I thought until my face turned blue. I'm under arrest and I'm going to jail.
Hell, if you were shot at, but you weren't hit and you couldn't find the bullet and there was no proof, you still going to jail.
Bro.
They're like, yeah, sure you were shot, nigga. Get your ass. Excuse my friend.
I mean, he went crazy out there, bro. He needs to be charged. I think it sends out the wrong message if he don't get charged. You know?
Do you think there is anything you could do to avoid that level of incompetence on the police force? Like, what do you do?
I'm starting to think it's a requirement. I'm not
Well,
gonna
I thought
lie.
they're supposed to go through like psych ward or psych training and stuff before you're a police officer. I don't
You're
know. I
supposed
just
to go
say
through some
that
stuff.
you also supposed to know the Constitution, which you sworn to protect, and they do not know the Constitution at all. Most officers do not know the Constitution. I feel like most
Americans
cops
don't know the Constitution.
Huh?
I said most Americans don't know the Constitution.
Yeah, but like I said, you swore to it. If I swore to it, I know that bitch backwards and forward.
Were they swore to the Constitution, or they just swore to
They
uphold
swore to
law and peace?
they swore to protect the Constitution, everything that's in the Constitution, which they don't. Look, let me show you an example of this. Let me show you an example. Like, it's to the point where,
Oh, I like those guys. Honestly, on it.
yeah, he's cool as fuck. That's my boy. It's to the point where civilians realize, like, these motherfuckers don't know shit. Like, it's sad. And then what's sad, the officers are making fun of people like, oh yeah, you need to stop watching YouTube. I'm like, you need to start watching YouTube.
I have a weapon.
Because it's kind of sad that people on YouTube who watch YouTube know the law and the Constitution better than you. I feel like guys and women become cops because they like, I feel like they get in there and they just like, fuck all of that shit. When do I start shooting people and body slamming people? Because that seemed to be the only thing they fucking know.
Violating our rights right now. Do you know how many rights you violated so far?
Mr. Huffman, you're in investigative detention. You've been read your rights.
Investigative detention for what crime?
I've tried
For what
to talk
crime?
to you about
For
why
what
we're here
crime?
and the circumstances we're trying to investigate, and you don't seem to want to be compliant. I'm sorry for
We're
that.
not required
okay?
to be compliant.
I'm
by
sorry
any
for that.
law. No law requires me to be compliant. In fact,
But
the Constitution
again,
of the United States gives me my 5th and 4th Amendment right.
Okay.
Not to be searched and seized, and not to give you any information unless I'm suspected of a crime. And y'all have yet to articulate a crime.
Again, you're refusing to be compliant, and that's
No,
fine.
there's no crime.
You've been read your rights,
There's
and
no
that's
crime.
fine. You're currently being detained.
There's no crime.
And you want to speak to a supervisor.
What's the crime?
That's fine. Okay.
What's the crime, boss?
Again, you and I have already had this discussion. I'm not going to rehash it with you.
I told y'all not to come on this property. Y'all passed trespassing
They own his
signs.
property, arresting him.
Hudson is shown
Yeah,
the
you
property
definitely
deed
can't do
and
that.
begins to write Rob and his father their citations.
He showed us the deed. Cut him loose. Okay.
Yeah, this motherfucker don't even know the law. Hello.
Stand right here, sir, and calm down.
Please.
Calm down.
Please calm down.
Calm down, turn around.
But not-
You're moving
not
back,
being
sir.
compliant, sir.
You're not being
not being
compliant.
I'm
Okay.
complying. You muzzle flash me, you dumbass. Y'all don't know how to use firearms? You fucking pointed that gun at me.
Sir, stop cursing me
It's
before you
like-
receive a
I
charge.
have the freedom of speech,
No, you don't,
jackass.
sir. Okay.
I don't have the freedom of
You
speech
don't
on my
have the freedom
property.
of speech.
Video
On
record
your
this,
own
Alec,
property.
Jared.
You got anything
No,
on this
you got
before
the
stick
freedom
your
of
hurt me,
speech
sir?
everywhere.
Yeah, I got these nuts in your mouth.
No, I'm just
Okay,
saying, like, the idea of it is
I hope
ridiculous.
your mom's proud of you, you tyrant.
Deputy Hudson runs Rob's ID.
What's the crime?
So we got a call that somebody was shooting on the property.
Yeah, you
over
told
here.
me that, Hudson.
So at the same time, we come up here and investigate.
Yeah, and I
Either
told you
your-
not to
either
come
your
on the
father-
property.
At the same time, I don't know if you're the owner of the property. You left and went down that way, correct?
It's hunting.
So we came down here, we made contact with your father.
came on my
Is your father?
property.
I
Is it?
mean, I skipped through a lot of shit, but basically, he's doing all of this because he's mad that the guy won't give him his name and all that other shit. That's what this is all about. It's turned into a dick measure contest.
A lot of these
Do you know what that
videos
is?
are that
And the rights I
exact
just
thing.
explained to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
They
Do
don't
you
want
know
to
what
give up
right
their
that
ID,
is?
so
That you
they
just
act a nut.
history.
Look, this the part I was trying to get to right here.
You're a dumbass.
I remember this because it was interesting to me that this guy feels like I feel. He know most cops don't even know the Constitution.
You don't know how to operate a firearm. You guys should not even have firearms.
So previous to one.
You don't even have a crime. You're trespassing. I'm gonna have both of y'all's jobs if I
10-4, seems
can.
like criminal history.
I know you guys get out of everything.
Simple.
I got a criminal history of being on my property and y'all are trespassing. Trespassing, Hudson. Oh, you think it's funny? You see, you guys are lowlifes, man. And you're proud of yourself. Didn't you swear an oath to the Constitution?
All right, so you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say will can be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to talk to a lawyer, have him present with you while you're being questioned. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, you want to be appointed to represent you before any question. If you wish, you can decide at any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand the rights I just explained to you, sir?
Yes, sir. Do you know what right that is that you just articulated? Do you know? I bet you don't. What amendment is that right? What amendment is that right? Come on, Hudson. Think, buddy. It's not that hard. I'll give you a hint. It's in the Bill of Rights. Do you know what that is? The Fifth Amendment?
Right.
Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is? The right to remain silent, the right to not ID myself.
The cop trying to be quiet like he's done with it. No, bitch, you don't fucking know it. You ain't done with it. You don't know it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That was my favorite part of this video, how he smiled. He's like, you know, right? To the Constitution.
Amendment is that right? Come on, Hudson. Think, buddy. You guys are lowlifes, man. And you're proud of yourself. Didn't you swear an oath to the Constitution?
All right, so you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say will can be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to talk to a lawyer, have him
If I
present
was
with
a
you.
police officer and I was their sergeant or captain, you cannot work for this district unless you know that the Miranda rights by heart. Being a cop is more than just going hands-on, putting on tactical fucking gloves and fucking having guns and all of the cool shit. None of them want to do the real work. They don't want to do the brain work. Why are you a cop swearing to protect the Constitution, and you can't even recite parts of the Bill of Rights?
Without a cheat card.
Bro, you got a civilian kicking your ass at your job. I don't like that.
You'll be a question. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, you want to be appointed to represent you before any question. If you wish,
and look at him smile. He's smiling like, ain't this a bitch? He been talking about the Constitution the whole time. Now you got this dickhead reading the shit to you.
Decide any time to exercise these rights, not answer any questions or make any statements. Do you understand the rights I just explained to you, sir?
Yes, sir. Do you know what right that is that you just articulated? Do you know? I bet you don't. What amendment is that right? What amendment is that right? Come on, Hudson. Think, buddy. It's not that hard. I'll give you a hint. It's in the Bill of Rights. Do you know what that is? The Fifth Amendment? Do you know what the Fifth Amendment is? The right to remain silent, the right to not ID myself. Don't point that fucking gun at me again.
Mr. Huffman, how long have you owned this property, sir?
See what I'm saying? He's using his brain, and the dude doing little shady shit, knowing that the camera ain't gonna catch him muzzle flashing and pointing a gun at him. That's thug shit.
Yeah.
You know, Sabius want to sit up here and protect the police and
I didn't say
do all of this bullshit. You know, you already fucking bunny hopping. All right, let's not do too much.
Carrotus the one told me to do it. He just told me to just say,
just try it out one time.
Just try it out, bunny hopping. Yep.
Oh yeah. I'm an advocate. I regret nothing.
He's I regret nothing. Oh my god. Let's do the bunny hop.
I ain't about to be on too much longer.
No, I'm about to get the fuck off. Yeah, after the bunny
There's
hop.
a dance.
Right. I didn't know there was a dancing.
I'm not gonna watch them do it. I'm gonna tell you.
I was just about to say, wait a second.
I'm
Like,
not gonna do that right now.
something about the song and the theme aren't matching up.
Back, the boys and I dreamed of the dance for the young people, and things sort of.
Yeah, this the bunny hop. That's the bunny hop.
Whitest thing I've ever seen.
White as hell.
I think I have seen this before.
I seen a white person do it real good though.
All this joking.
One of the very few things I seen them do good.
Because I'm ridiculous.
And he would come in when we get to the bunny. Bitch, we are leaving.
I watching?
Bunny hopping.
Oh, that's okay.
That's a dance. Garrett is gonna be at the front of the line.
I would. I'd lead it.
He'd be chasing
I mean, he's been accused but never been proven of having people murdered before. So.
Damn. So I guess if you feel threatened for your life, yeah, I guess that could maybe say, well, maybe I shouldn't have reported.
Well, why is she afraid of her life now?
Okay, well, I don't know. This